Well, hey there.
Hey, what's up, Kim? How are you?
What's up? Nice shirt you got on.
They just called me and they said they needed a 44-year-old player and he has to have American citizenship, so we're gonna sign you. So I said,
I
why not?
got you.
Yeah. How you been,
No.
man?
All good. Nice to see you. Feels like yesterday, but it's been a while.
I know. Well, not too long. I mean, too long since New York, but not since Aix-en-Provence. Where are you right
Yeah, it
now?
was a pity that we missed each other though. I mean, I know you guys were there and looking for you, and then you were up drinking beer and everything. And I was running down,
Yeah.
running around trying to get a hold of you, but I suppose you had the right priorities.
Yeah, well, my Wi-Fi was not working. I know you texted me, but anyways, and
Anyways,
first of all, thank you, Kim, for agreeing and accepting and taking your time to join this conversation. I'm going to explain it to you really quickly what this is
all
all
right.
about. I'm starting this Zoom cast during the time of COVID crisis to get in touch with people that I know that I've connected through Handball. So it is a conversation between either teammates, partners, competitors, or friends, or just dreamers of handball who are
All right.
forever connected thanks to the extraordinary bonding power of handball. So, and the funny thing with you is that this conversation, and the reason why this conversation is happening today, because on the exact day of November 9, 2017 at 9:15 p.m., you decided to send an email
To send
and
you an email,
yeah,
yes.
and tell me that, hey, I'm in New York City. I'm in New York City. I've been here for 3 weeks and I have only 10 days left. So I just found your website and I wanted to find out what handball is all about. And it's funny how you wrote it. It's like, oh, I played handball for 11 years and I won 2 championships in Germany. I'm like, I know immediately responded and said, we know who you are.
I
We would love,
remember that.
we would
I
love
was,
to
I
have
was
you
sort of
on.
like, how should I put this? Like, should I not mention anything, or should I? Yeah, I remember the exact moment. I think I was at some bar with two guys that I met at a hostel or something. And like at the same time, I found your site, and I was like, hey, I'm going to send you an email. But
That was really, really funny. I mean, we're here right now because that moment at that bar, you decided to write to me. So tell me, what do you remember about that whole trip? And then we get down to the reasons why you were doing this trip.
all right, yeah, sure. I mean, I was I was in New York for about 5 weeks, all in all, I suppose, and I just wanted to spend some time in the States, more or less, with no real plans. I started out by staying at a buddy's place in Brooklyn, a guy that I met when I went to New York a few years earlier. And I also remember that I wanted to find some sort of, well, not community because that's a too strong of a word, but some sort of meetup apart.
Hmm.
Uh, and initially, my plan was to find like somewhere to play pickup basketball
Yeah.
because I always been into basketball, and yeah, just meet some buddies or meet some people somewhere and play some 3-on-3 against 3 or something. And I remember finding this website about it's like Indoor Hoops, I think it's called. I don't know if you know it.
No.
I think it's quite known, where like they got different spots and you can sign up for just basically pick up basketball.
Okay.
Uh, but somehow I didn't get that to work. There was some bug on the site, and I tried like for weeks.
Hmm.
Um, and then so in the end, I was like, hold on, I think I've heard somewhere that there is this handball team in New York. I mean, even though I'd prefer to sort of
Yeah, yeah.
play basketball for fun and no handball for fun, I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. And then I googled you. I think I recall that you had this event around New Year's
Yeah.
every year. A lot of people that I know went there, and that was what sort of popped up in my mind. So I just typed New York City handball. I found your site, saw that you were like practicing once a week,
Yeah.
and I thought I'd come around. So
That was to me the funniest thing, because I get a lot of emails, right, from people like say like, oh, I played high level here, I played so many championships in the world, I have 25 years experience in handball, all kind of stuff, and I'm like,
uh-huh.
used to knowing that 99.9% of those emails are crap, right? But
All right.
then your email comes in, and and I send the email to all the team. I said, hey guys, on Saturday practice, Kim is joining us, and you should have seen response of guys like, oh, you're bullshitting, you're lying, why is he coming? I'm like, the guy's in New York, he wants to come and play. And I remember like 30 or 35 guys showed up. And of
Yeah.
course, I think we made your wish come true, because we do play basketball, but
Indeed, I remember. I remember.
15 on 15, not 3 on 3.
But like you get a bunch of emails as well from like people claiming that they are like pro handballers, but indeed
They're not. I mean, do you know how many I have? I have from all over the world. I mean,
uh
and it's constant. Everyone wants to come to play to New York, and some people just ask. It's like, I don't want to get paid. Just get me an apartment and food. That's all they want.
all right, okay. People like being not even present in New York, but
Oh,
just asking for them to sort of be able. Oh, that's
exactly. Oh,
all
they.
right, all
I
right.
mean, we have this. People look at it when they look at our online stuff, and of course, they think United States has it
Of course.
all.
Yeah.
So the idea, vision in their head from smaller countries in the world, they think like, oh, just
Gotcha.
I'll come and play. I have experience. I played for my team.
Yeah.
I won a
I mean,
third division in who knows where.
exactly.
Like,
I mean, you guys being back to back to back, etc. U.S. champions or whatever. Okay, I see you. Funny, yeah.
it
I mean, you guys really had a lot of players over, right? I mean, now when I think about it, I don't know for how many years your New York, your New Year's thingy went on, but yeah, the recruiting side seemed to be working out quite well.
Yeah, I think like being New York City alone, I mean, we have a lot of people that come in here for other reasons, mostly for work. And some of the guys, I mean, our core team has really good players who have played back home in a certain
Yeah,
level, but they don't claim they are great. We know how to play handball, but we are
yeah,
old enough, and we have a really good, strong team. But nobody has ideas, visions of, hey, we are great. But when somebody like you comes in, and also like this shirt, Sprenger gave it to me. He came to our
yeah. I
practice.
was about to ask you
Yeah,
where you
Sprenger
had it from.
joined us our practice as well. Mirza Jomba, Carlos Prieto. So we
Yeah,
have this platform for people to come in. If you can at least have a good game. But I remember with you though, you come in, you haven't touched the ball for close to a year,
yeah.
and
It's been like 4 months, I think. So
for
not that long, but I remember felt as if my shoulder was going to sort of just implode.
yeah, well,
So,
yeah, to us, it felt like, okay, the guy didn't touch the ball. And when you were making sometimes those moves of dropping the shoulder and going between three of us and taking us over, we were like, oh man, like, how do you stop this guy? Like, it's like, it didn't even play handball for a long time. But like for all the guys was like, it just changes the mentality when you
yeah,
have someone at that level come in and play win back-to-back championship and comes plays with us amateurs.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was really, I have to tell you, we all of the guys appreciated that training, and they still keep talking about it to this day, because it really boosted our energy, because wintertime is not the best time when you start training with bad
Yeah.
weather. But it just elevated everyone's desire to keep coming to practice, because
All
to
right.
me that's the biggest thing. If you
That's really nice to hear. Yeah.
it
I
was
mean, it sort of got me going in a lot of ways as well, because to me, when I look back, I think of actually of that practice as the turning point of like the possible comeback at all. That was like I remember that evening in New York, and I mean, well, handball apart, but it was nice just to show up with a bunch of unknown people, and then go out have a drink, and like the whole full experience of it, and the thoughts that sort of followed. And really, that was sort of a game changer somewhere for me as well, even though things might have turned out the same way anyway. But to me, when I recall the whole event, it's really something particular for me too.
well, for us it was crazy, for me and for all the other guys. And I think after our practice, we went out for drinks and many drinks. um, we were asking, or we were thinking like, how can you in the prime of your career, winning two back-to-back titles in the most difficult league in the planet, how would you give it up? We play for free. We die to get hurt for free. And but of course, you had the courage and you were honest to yourself to do the right thing for you at that moment. So I know you were not being happy playing at the time. So you just pulled back and said, that's it for me now.
Mm.
So tell me the moment where really you decided, which game was it that you said, okay, this is it. I'm going to stop.
I mean, it's funny you using the word courage as well, because that a lot of people they told me like just breathe, telling me about their thoughts of of me ending my career, and courage is a word that always pops up sort of, and to me that was, I mean, I can see that from an outside point of view. Maybe courage would be something that would come into play, but to me it was like the least courageous thing to do, because to me that was like no other option. And when you find yourself sort of having passed the point of no return, there is no courage needed, because it's the only way. It's the only way to go, sort of, only direction to take. And I mean, I had those thoughts for years and years, and I mean, yeah, like more or less, and then was coming and going, and but I remember like the definite decision. I suppose I came back from my summer holidays, 2016, and we started the preseason, and it was just this thing inside of me that told me like it's over, and that was, to me, that was nothing more to do than sort of accepting what my body and mind had decided. Um, so courage, I'd say that was none. Maybe I remember the sort of announcing that to teammates and people around me. That was something that wasn't quite that easy to, like, in the beginning, since I know the sport world, or like at least the world of handball, and the only thing that you there's only one thing that people ask from you, basically, and that is, well, you can have a lousy day or whatever, you can just be sucky, but as long as you keep on fighting and showing like that you really burn for what you do, sort of, everything's okay. So then what happens when all of a sudden one guy raises his arm and says, hey guy, I I don't really want to be here. I'm just here like now the last year because I have to, and then I will take off. Like before the season had even started, and that was sort of yeah, that was weird. I was quite nervous about the initial reactions of sort of the closer circle around me. But none of that came true of what I thought and feared, and I was actually, I people around me gave me the feeling that I was sort of making their dream come true.
Yeah.
Like after games, players from other teams, etc., that I've never talked to before, etc. I had a bunch of people telling me, "Hey, I would have loved to do what you do, just that sort of, yeah, out of whatever reason I can't." And that was, I think that was what I've enjoyed the most. That I really felt the whole support of the whole community, sort of.
Well, you know what yeah, I think you don't consider it's courageous what you did, because for you it was the only option, right? Because your gut instinct showed that you're not having the drive, the passion, the desire to do it day in, day out, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the game, come home and enjoy that you did a great job. I know that's called burnout at some point.
Yeah.
But anyone who is on top of their career at the young age that you were, no matter how they feel, right? They still it's ingrained in their brains to keep going
Yeah.
until you fully break. And being aware of yourself, of what your needs are, one, and two, having the confidence, I think, I guess it's a better word to say than courageous, having the confidence to pull the plug at the moment
Yeah.
where nobody, I think 99% of the people would not do it. Because one, you're playing in the best league in the world, you're the champion, you're playing great, sort of purpose, like life purpose, that you're doing all the things we all dream about, all the handball players dream about, but they didn't make you happy. So you had the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to stop and let's see what happens. Let me just take that freedom of doing whatever I want to. Now that the actions you did absolutely helps all the handball players, because many are on the same boat, a lot less successful than you were, but still to have someone successful do this stuff opens the doors where you say, like, you know what, I'm going to stop for 1 year, I'll go explore, and then maybe I come back one,
Yeah.
as a better person, two, with a passion to play, and three, maybe I'll be successful again. But that's not
Yeah.
why we live our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. That I, yeah, I see that point as well. And I mean, if I hadn't done it personally, and if I had seen someone else do what I did, and I would have had the same feelings that I had for the time being, that would, I mean, I suppose even for me, that would have been like a source of inspiration.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, the thing that made me the most happy in the midst of all is this, is that it gave me the feeling of sort of regaining control of my life. Sort of, it was the first time that I actually, that I was in the driving seat, and that I took a decision. And otherwise things, they have just popped up along the way, and opportunities come along, and you say yes, you say no, but you're not really active in the whole process. You go through school, and you play handball, you get offers, etc., etc. Things just happen. And this was the first time that I really had the impression that, okay, that it gave me like a really, well, I think it has boosted my confidence enormously to know that whenever I find myself in a position where I'm not happy, where I don't want to be, I know that I have been there before, and I know how to cut things loose, and do something else, and to feel that, I now I'm here because I want to be here, and I'm, yeah, I'm in the front seat, sort of.
And that is critical, I think, for any person, especially at certain age in their lives,
Yeah.
when you reach certain goals, and ultimately it's your well-being that matters. And again, as we talked, having the confidence and being courageous to do this, and also inspirational for all the other people, I think you have done that. And also on top of it all, after you decided to go back for that short stint with Rhein Neckar Lowen, I mean, everyone knows this, but I think it's also a very noble thing to do, is you came in still with a mindset like, okay, let me give it a shot. Let me get my burning drive inside to
Yeah.
play, but I don't want the money. Let's donate this money to the charities. And I think Rhein Neckar Lowen also played an important part, that they formed that campaign together with you. You guys raised
Yeah.
around 30,000 euros to divide between three
Yeah.
charity organizations. I thought that was phenomenal too. It was a smooth transition of really relieving yourself and
Yeah.
coming back to enjoying what you're good at.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to me, it felt like the right thing to do as well. Not, uh, yeah, I don't recall from where I got the idea, but the whole thing of being back to where I came from, sort of, and to me, Lowen is my, it's my second home, with players, teams, city, everything around, and it just felt right that if I ever come back, that will be out of other reasons, that has nothing to do with money. And I mean, the reason why I got back there in the first place was that, I mean, I hadn't excluded a potential comeback. I think like halfway into the season, they had like enormous injury problems, with like almost half a team were out, and I was sort of in a constant dialogue with some of the players, and I had told myself as well, like beforehand, like if any of you will break, if there are more players to break down and be injured, you will find yourself in a sort of a really tough position. And to me, that was, getting back home, just having a nice few months with my old friends, and vacation at home, and
Yeah.
the whole package sort of suited the mentality and the overall experience.
Well, even though Rhein Neckar Lowen at one point a while ago was our sister partner club in
Right, that I didn't
Bundesliga.
know.
Yeah, it was just nothing happened with it. But it's Christoph Mons, who is Christoph.
Yes, of course, yeah,
He was
exactly, because he was one of the main organizers for the whole New York
exactly, yeah.
thing,
So
right? Yeah,
he was a part of it, and of course we had Icelandic left-hander. Many guys from Rhein Neckar Lowen came in
yeah,
to New York. But I remember the moment when you decided to go back, you were supposed to become the first ever player from the world to play for New York City in Northeast League in West Point. And I can't believe, because I know you had to make a call and speak to
yeah,
certain.
yeah. I remember the story. Yeah,
And I was like, okay, we're going to put him in a roster. I put you in the roster. And the commissioner who was looking at the roster is like, Vinny, are you kidding me? I said, what do you mean? Kim is going to play? I said, yes. He's like, yes. Like, but in my head, I was thinking, okay, I know it's not fair, but we always win these games. It doesn't matter. But it would be great for the opponents to have a opportunity to play against you. And of course, for our guys, it would be fun. It would be just
yeah,
one of those memories. But then right before we get in there, you got the call that you cannot play because of
yeah.
potential. It was the right call, I think. But
Exactly, but still, I mean, now when I think about it, like, of course, I could have played, I suppose, but I just,
no,
the
you
whole
never
story
know.
behind, but still, yeah, I remember coming along with you and just spending a day at West Point and
Yeah,
seeing you sort of whipping those. I think I'd never seen such fit guys play handball like that. Was it the American
yeah,
military team or
yeah.
whatever?
Harvey.
And that was, I remember the pleasure of seeing you like sort of whipping those guys' asses, like with you in the front, sort of. I don't know how old you are, but
Not too old.
seeing you guys coming out there like in front, sort of overly motivated to youngsters full of testosterone,
Yeah.
like with a physics that I've never seen anything like it on a handball court. And that was fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was great to have you on that bench. On that, it was really fun time. But I also remember. I mean, we didn't get to play handball there, but we played a little bit one-on-one basketball shooting, you and I, and like in West Point.
Indeed, yeah,
You were lucky you won. I don't know
yeah.
how.
I've
Yeah, you were very lucky.
got like
Yeah.
vague memories of
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So then I won. I won.
All
If you
right,
don't
all right.
remember it, yeah.
Well, I wasn't lucky.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we
Yeah.
played, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That was funny because I was playing with the other guys, and then you came in, and of course you had a better shot than me. So it doesn't matter. Nobody remembers that.
it took a lot of practice to get that shot.
Yeah. So do you know that according to Wikipedia, you are still a retired Swedish handball player?
I didn't know that. No,
Yeah, someone has to change that because you're not a retired player.
you're referring to what language Wikipedia?
English.
Okay, well, I mean, you could change that, right? Couldn't you?
I could, and I will change it. I mean, I was just checking last night. I was like, okay, no, this is old.
Right.
But
I haven't been checking out. I haven't been checking that out for a long time, so I can't give you any news of the details of my Wikipedia status.
yeah, okay, I know it. So I will change that one.
All
So
right, all right.
I wanna go back to another time where we didn't know each other. But I was at the 2012 Olympic Games. I was in London,
Okay.
and you obviously were representing Swedish national team. I actually watched one of the games, you against Great Britain, because I had certain tickets, and and I remember that game vaguely. But I remember that you guys were walking like it felt like you were walking, and those guys were trying hard, and they had a former
Yeah.
Swedish player in their team. And anyhow, past that, you guys really made a run. And I don't think you were the favorites at any point, but all of a sudden, like boom, 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 you went to the finals. Now that finals, um, actually after London, I went back to Kosovo for vacation, and I watched the game on TV. And I remember, and I'm sure you will remember the last play that happened where Abalo went between two. The reason why I am mentioning this one, because obviously Abalo did something that no one else would ever do in normal circumstances, like fake left, right, and then go between two people, not go anywhere, and just drop an easy floating ball, bounce in front of the goalie. It was just one of those silly goals. And at that time, there were 20 seconds left. They were up by 1, and that made them up by 2.
That was over.
The game is over. And you were there next to him, and I don't know who else was next to you. So I look at that, and you were much younger then. How important that moment was in your development as a player or desire to achieve more?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned it, because I think I spoke about, not about that moment in particular, but about the Olympic finals just the other day. And because one of the events of my career that keeps on popping up in my mind, and like the deception of having lost that final, because I remember the French, they could have been beaten, and otherwise you always had the feeling when you were against the French that no matter what you do, they will win. Sort of, they were just indestructible. But I remember that day that you had the feeling that actually they weren't on top, but we were even less so. And I remember, like, to me personally, it is as if that Olympic final never took place. It's like a distant dream. I was having a lousy game. I remember the other Kim, he wasn't all too good either, and still we only lost by 1 goal. And I mean, to us guys, you mentioned it, that we came into the tournament. We had just missed the World Cup qualifications against Montenegro.
Yeah.
And there had been like meetings throughout the summer and crisis and whatever, and we didn't really have any expectations, I suppose. And then all of a sudden, we were in the semis against Hungary, and I think to all of us, that was our gold medal game, because I suppose it must have been a dream come true for the Hungarians as well.
Yeah.
To play against Sweden in an Olympic semifinal. And I mean, we winning that one and securing our medal that none of us could have dreamt of before the games. And I remember that. I mean, of course, handball has always had like a certain popularity in Sweden, but during those Olympics, I think we were on like all front page of every single Swedish newspaper, and you really had the impression. I remember the impression before the final that it was just too big to handle, because I suppose I wasn't ready, because we had our medal. We had went further than we ever could have dreamed of, and it was as if everything that I had done in my life was sort of converging onto that field that day at that exact hour, and that the attention of the whole Swedish population was like everyone was present, and I just, however I tried, I couldn't get into the mood. I was there, but I was somewhere else. But then this last goal that Abalou scored, I remember as well, because I think I didn't even realize that they were 1 player down, right?
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, I don't.
I think we were playing 6 against 5. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, wow, I don't remember.
And I was completely mispositioned from where I should have been, and that I, like, looking back, that was all my fault that he could score that goal. That was just me being, having lost concentration. Anyhow, I still think of that Olympic final, and I still think, like, I mean, you could have had that gold medal instead of the silver medal, even though it's the thing that I'm most proud of everything in my career is having an Olympic medal. And I remember I was at Karabatic's place this week, actually. A few of the guys that we stayed in Paris. We had a drink and we met up for the first time in 10 weeks, sort of. And he had like all of his medal in his living room, and
Yeah.
except for the Olympic ones. And I thought I would finally get at least, get to hold this Olympic gold medal in my hands that I missed 2012, but they were in a safe somewhere else, and I couldn't.
Well,
Access denied.
yeah. Well, you know what? The reason why I brought it up, because again, one, Sweden as a team, as a country, has always kind of reached those moments, like winning silver, bronze, and this would have been the first time you would have won the gold. Secondly, you were very young at the same time. I mean, but third, I'm saying this. I mean, again, you're experiencing a different level, but I played handball for my whole life, and these games, these moments, that one game that you lose like this, it drives you crazy. It stays with you forever. But I think it makes you a better player and readier for everything else. So to me, I think you lost that one, but you won 2 back-to-back Bundesliga titles because you never lost focus again, or you
Yeah, I
never
mean,
missed that opportunity.
exactly. That was your question to begin with. To me, sort of this Olympia experience feels like, when I look back, that was like an experience apart somewhere. Although I've always had that in the back of my mind, like if I ever come back and if I ever get the possibility to play in Olympics, I will try not to miss out on that detail of what is my objective coming into the tournament, and it's not over until, like, I would go for the goal. And I know in 2012 we were happy, everything was great, and it just, the head was turned off, and so that, I mean, it's too bad that it got postponed, because like coming back, one of my main objectives as well, even though I know it would have been extremely hard, but still, like, okay, the 2020 Olympics,
Yeah.
to have like this big grand finale, end of my career, et cetera, and going for
Hey, there's still time. There's still time for you.
time. Exactly. Who knows? This time around as well, I'm saying who knows, because
who knows? Well, I mean, it's. I remember that day very clearly, and I thought France is going to lose, even though nobody thought we'll ever lose. But you guys played a great game. So another funny thing that happened between us.
Yeah, there you go. I was just, when you were mentioning moments that made you stronger or whatever. I mean, the only thing that I always come to think of is our championship finale apart against Kiel in 2014.
Oh yeah,
if you recall, where in the end we were equal in points, et cetera, and they had 2 more goals scored throughout the whole season.
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one. That's when you guys started really beginning to
exactly
take that stage, taking Kiel away from being number
exactly. But that was one of the most heartbreaking, like ripping everything apart moments of my life, I think. And I've never seen like grown-up men breaking down really to that point. I remember going home in the bus afterwards and like being lining up at McDonald's to get our burgers, and like one after another just started to weep out loud, like out of the blue, like throughout hours. And that was hard, and I mean, that was the reason to me why we could win afterwards to championships, because we had experienced that, everyone together.
Well, let's stay in this one a little bit, because what was the most special thing about Rhein Neckar Lowen during those 3 years? Because you definitely had the most fun time playing handball at those times, where in Germany it's like really like do this, but you guys had fun. It looked like the game just changed, was flowing, and you were playing free in a way. What made it so exciting and interesting?
Yeah, I don't know. We always had, it was always a great team. I think we like group wise, it worked out great together. Up until then, I had never experienced something else than like a functioning group. But I had heard, like, I know how things turned out, or how things were before the major changes in 2012, where sort of half the team went away and other guys came in, and that was sort of the starting point where I know the people who were there before, and then afterwards, everything changed. I mean, in the last successful years that we had, I'd say that the core of the team had been intact for like at least 5 years. When I think back of all of that, I know that Pedersen, Schmidt, and I, we played basically 60 minutes more or less together every single game for 5 years straight. And that is when you realize that I mean, me coming to Paris, and all of a sudden I realized that to what point it's collective, and it has to work with your teammates as well, and the system, and just the mentality, and the philosophy, which I'd been taking for granted before, because I'd been on the same team with the same guys for 5 years, and I knew their every move. And then all of a sudden everything comes down on you, and it's like, hey, it's really, everything is just about knowing what the guy next to me is about to do. And so that was, to me, like one of the key factors. And then especially with Nikolai Jakobsen coming in as a trainer as well, just the importance of the match between the coach and the team. It's not that something is better or worse, it's just that your mentality matches with the mentality of your players, and that was the case. It just
I mean, I loved watching you guys play. It was really fun watching you play. And of course, Davydenko came here to Big Apple and actually played in one of the All-Star games.
All right.
I don't know how old was he at that time. I mean, but I remember him getting into the game. 6 shots, 6 goals to our best goalkeeper at that time, national goalkeeper for USA. All 6 shots, different angles, different speeds, different placement. And I have videos of all that stuff. And I was telling Ivan, I'm like, look what he did to you. He's like 50 years old. He's like, you know what? Get in the goal and you'll see, like, his wrist movement, his elbow. And honestly, until that day, I knew he was a coach, but I didn't know that he was such a good player. I don't remember watching him when he played before Denmark. But I think that's a crucial element of a coach that enjoys having fun with the players. I think it was one of them. Well, another funny thing that happened between you and me was when I showed up with a team in Aix-en-Provence. And I don't think you knew that we're planning to go to France, and you got me in touch with a guy.
That I knew, because exactly. I knew you were in Montpellier, etc. But I didn't know that you would show up next.
And then scream while you're warming up, Kim, and you're looking at me like, what the hell? And then you showed up. I was like, what? That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was sort of two separate lives sort of coming together, like, because you belong to the period of my life that was sort of ripped out of everything else, like just a time apart that took place somewhere in a distant past, and I don't know what, and then sort of having those two reunited
in Aix-en-Provence.
That was just, to me, it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. You played a great game that day. It was a really good.
Yeah, I remember that I had the impression at the beginning, like, damn, like I gotta score some goals or whatever. I got the guys
from New York,
over from New York watching me. So yeah.
We took all this flight. You cannot not have a great game.
I know. I suppose I could have, but luckily I didn't.
We're happy you didn't. So I'm glad that happened too. I mean, that's, again, brings me down to the whole situation we're in. All it began from you being in a bar, sending that email, and then, of course, me knowing who you are before that, but because, the way who you are. But ultimately now we're connected. We're connected forever, wherever we're going to be and whatever we're going to do. Obviously, handball is an essential part of my life because it's a passion, hobby. It's not my job. And for you, you're back to it again, which I'm happy you are, because you have plenty more years, and I hope you're enjoying it. So just have a quick question. I before we end, I know this year is supposed to be your last year with PSG. What are your plans? What's happening?
I'm going to Hong Kong to university. I mean, I've applied. I've been admitted. And exactly, yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
Exactly. So I mean, that was. I mean, coming back, I sort of had the plan that probably it'll be for 2 years. It'll be for my PSG contract, and then sort of I'm going to try to come back and in order to prepare my next step in life. Because last time I took off, that was just to quit handball. This time around is more of, I know I'm going to miss it like a lot. And I mean, I've somewhere I tell myself like, is it really over? I don't know. And especially in particular in these times of uncertainty that,
Yeah.
we'll just see. But for now, at least, I suppose I've played my last game. And so the plan is to go to Hong Kong and start undergraduate studies and live in Hong Kong for at least 4 years. I just
Wow.
cross my fingers that 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 I'll be able to go there at all.
Yes, what's going on right now, but
Exactly. So
this,
that's the plan. If I can't be there physically, because I mean they've had like online classes since January,
yeah.
and are things going to be able to open up or not? I don't know. So I mean, if I can't go there, everything else could happen really. But that's the plan.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I think that's another amazing step forward for you, for your life. Well, that's, again, good news. I guess I don't have to switch Wikipedia.
Maybe you don't. You're right. Keep the things the way they are.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, when is a plan to fly when you can?
Yeah. Well, I mean, classes are supposed to start in the beginning of September.
Okay.
I'm planning on being there a few weeks before, and I suppose I'll have to go through a 2 weeks quarantine anyway.
Yeah.
Quarantine anyway. So mid-August.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, congrats again. And I hope when all this settles down and you settle down in Hong Kong, there are a lot of direct flights from Hong Kong. So any chance coming to New York?
Always.
Yeah. Good. 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 And we can always have a place in a roster for you, whether you
All right. All
choose
right.
to
All
play
right.
or not.
I'm happy to hear that. I just hope you won't eliminate anyone to sort of make room, because then I think I'll
That's
join.
just me.
Okay, if it's you, I'm
One elimination right here.
all right. I got you.
All right. Kim, thank you so much.
But thank you.
Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll definitely be in touch.
We will.
All right, man. Thank
All
you so
right.
much. Bye, Kim.
Nice talking to you.